Hey, yo, what's the deal? Miss your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag, you know what I mean? As of this recording right now, it is 6:34 p.m., but the upload time is between 11:30 p.m. and 11:45 p.m. September the 17th, 2025. I was going to say 2026. 2025, you know what I mean? 2025, you know what I mean? And this is the last video of the night. You know, it's the last video of the day, period. You know what I'm saying? Because as this recording, I'm definitely going to take care of some stuff. You know what I mean? I'm going to knock out some stuff for the computer. You know what I mean? I got some projects I got to knock out. I just finished playing a game. I just finished playing Siren. Siren, and I'm a retro gamer. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Siren is a scary fucking game, yo. Siren for the PS2, oh my fucking God. That shit is scary as a motherfucker. It's not really scary, but it gives you a lot of anxiety. You know what I mean? That's survival horror for you, though. I want to continue on into my discussion about, work exchanges. Not work exchanges, but, freelancing and such. And I want to, okay. Remember the video I did earlier today about how, you would never see wrestlers in the 90s, freelance and, working different promotions and such, different independent promotions in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like there would have been no such thing as freelancing in pro wrestling. No such thing. Not like what you see now or what you see. Yeah, exactly. Not like what you see now. You know what I mean? Nothing to that degree, right? And you know what? It had me thinking, right? As I did that video, I started thinking about something. I was like, what the territory system had worked in the 90s, what the pro wrestling territory system, the regional system had worked, going into the 90s. And I say, fuck no. Absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. And I'll tell you why, okay? Because, as pro wrestling was changing, right? The big companies, mostly the World Wrestling Federation, they wound up signing with a national television network, right? They wound up going to USA, right? For the majority of their run in the 80s and mostly the 90s. Focus on the 90s. Like their whole fucking their whole run was in the 90s, right? Their whole run on that network, right? We're talking about the Monday Night Wars and shit like that, right? But we're talking about the 90s period. So them signing with USA, them showing their stuff on USA, and also with Fox I think it was Fox that they had the Saturday Night's Main Event at one point. But I got to go back and look. I do believe, yes, it was it was still NBC, but also Fox had the Saturday Night's Main Event, right? There was no fucking way that a big network would have brought in, a bunch of regional promotions if they're focused on that one fucking promotion. That shit would definitely have not worked at all. Not one fucking bit. Look at WCW, right? Remember, WCW was basically a collective of, a handful of top NWA territory promotions, right? Of course, Mid-Atlantic, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and Mid-South Championship Wrestling, a.k.a. the United Wrestling Federation. And also, remember, Jim Crockett Promotions, right? Those were basically the territories that was around around Georgia at the time, right? Mid-South and everything else, right? You think that TBS, when Ted Turner brought WCW or brought all those promotions, you think that he was going to go, okay, well, let's call this, how can we promote all five promotions? You think we're gonna promote all 5 of these shits? Fuck no. Fuck no. Why? Because it was the end. It was actually the end. It was Mid-Atlantic and Georgia Championship Wrestling, because he's seen those 2 promotions getting airtime, and it's like, I'm not gonna promote, 2 promotions. Fuck that. Because it's too much money. You know what I mean? Like, for what? Let's just combine the 2 and let's just go national with it. And that's exactly what the fuck he did. Even though he still went to, he was still a Georgia-based promotion, right? He said, "Fuck it." I'm not gonna do. And plus, he was, one of these promotions was losing money. I think it was, Georgia Championship Wrestling that was losing money. So he said, "Fuck it. Let's just unify it. Let's merge it into thing, and let's merge." He basically merged all those promotions into WCW, right? Like I said, the fucking, this video might go long. Fuck it, I got a lot of shit to say. Georgia Championship Wrestling, Mid-Atlantic, Jim Crockett Promotions, right? And the Universal Wrestling Federation. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Championship Wrestling from Florida. I think, right? He was not gonna waste his time on those other promotions that were a waste of time if he brought the main promotion, basically Mid-Atlantic, right? So he said, "Fuck it, let's merge everything and let's call it World Championship Wrestling." That's what he did, right? He wasn't gonna waste his time on territory promotions. You know what I mean? And again, it was just only those 2. It was only those 2, right? If they did a territory promotion, a territory system, right? Again, it would fail from the start, because we're not only talking about network TV. Oh, no. The pay-per-views, too. The pay-per-views, right? The pay-per-views. Nobody was going to see local stars on local pay-per-view. You got to be out of your fucking mind. Like, pay-per-view was national. It was fucking national. Every single promotion that you see in the 90s, right, went national. Nobody was going to go and pay for, a fucking pay-per-view that only aired in fucking, bumblefuck Mississippi, right? Around that thing. Nobody was going to do that. Get the fuck out of here. So I could see regional stars like whoever was there. No, that was not going to work. That was not going to fucking work. In the 90s, where everything was going national, no, fuck that. Come on. Think about this. What do you think was going to be the bigger event? WrestleMania or Battle in the Bayou, right? Like, come on, man. Bayou, in fucking New Orleans. Like, come on, man. That shit was not going to work. That was not going to work, especially compared to bigger stars and such, where the rest of the country was going to, clamor into those stars and shit, into those big stars. Like, you think Hulk Hogan, someone like Hulk Hogan, right, may rest in peace, was going to actually go from the World Wrestling Federation, where he was making, that's another thing, where he's making the most money, right, to, let me see, the Pensacola Wrestling Alliance. Get the fuck out. When he's making a little bit, $20, get the fuck out of here. Know what I mean? No. That was not going to work. That was not going to work. Also, remember, merchandise. You know what I mean? The fucking merchandise. You know what I'm saying? There was no way that these wrestlers was getting paid off of merchandise from these big, from these from these big companies. Remember I told you about freelancing, today, you know what I mean? In today's day and age in wrestling, right? Independent wrestling is an independent wrestler in today's day and age is a fucking brand, right? Pro Wrestling Tees, You know what I mean? Like, you see a lot of that with pro wrestling tees. Like, they sell their shirts before these shows start, right? You know what I mean? I went to a House of Glory show one day, and before, like, they even had the event, they were selling merchandise and such, right? And even with Evolve, they was doing the same shit. They were selling DVDs and everything else, right? Again, it's a fucking brand. You couldn't do that in the 90s. You know what I mean? No fucking wrestler was, come on, Bret Hart. Imagine Bret, again, Bret Hart was not gonna go and wrestle for no rinky-dink regional promotion where he's making the most money in the WWF. Come on now. Come on. Unless it's a work agreement. Like I said, there's a difference between a work agreement and a fucking, a regional promotion. And I will be making a video about that really soon. And let me see what else. I mean, it's a bunch of shit. Also talent exposure, right? Now, the one benefit that would have happened was, the big promotions, the big promotion definitely would have looked at, the big promotion would have looked at the regional promotions for talent, but people are not stupid. Magazines like, Pro Wrestling Illustrated and Wrestling Insider always had these dream scenarios about, well, what if the WWF and WCW came together for one night and such, dream matches and shit like that, right? Hulk Hogan, right? Who the fuck was Hulk Hogan gonna face in the 90s? Ric Flair, right? Who is the prime, the standard bearer to WCW, or he was gonna battle, regional jobber, fucking Mike Strong or whatever, right? John Doe at Battle in the Bayou in WWE's regional in WWE's regional territory promotion. Come on, man. You serious? Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? Like, come on, man. And then also, don't forget, the Monday Night Wars, right? Nobody was fucking focused on a regional promotion. Nobody would be fucking focused on a regional promotion in the Monday Night Wars. Because it's not region versus region. No, absolutely fucking not. Going back to my other point before this one, this is why Vince brought talent, for different territories. This is why. Because he decided, like, he took the World Wrestling Federation National, and look what happened. Now, I mean, look what fucking happened. He killed the NWA system, and it was smart to do that. It was basically smart, right? The old days of, like, remember the NFL and the AFL? Now, I mean, remember that? You know what I'm saying? Remember fucking, the NBA and the ABA? You know what I mean? That was not going to work in the fucking 90s. That was not going to work. Especially with video games coming in. Oh, that shit was not going to fucking work. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I like that N.O.R.E. record. I'm going to find that shit. I'm going to put that shit in the description. That was my shit, too. That was with Pharrell. But, and also, like I said, the Monday Night Wars, it was not going to be region versus region, nigga. You got to be out of your fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? And then also remember this. If the territory system still happened in the 90s, ECW would never been born. ECW would have never, ever been born. Now, I mean, I hate to break the ice to y'all, but, in a sense, Vince killed the territory system at the right time. He did. Vince McMahon killed the territory system at the right fucking time because the territory system needed to die. It needed to die. And one more thing, too. One more thing about the 90s, okay? Look at everything that happened in the 90s, okay? With pop culture and everything else, right? Now, when cable came in, the thing with cable is even if the territory system was there, right? You know, you had national channels, right? There was no fucking way that if WCW still relied on territories, that you would have that they would have done everything they could to take eyes off the World Wrestling Federation. It would not have fucking worked. If anything, you saw independent promotions, not regional promotions. You did not see no fucking regional territory promotions. You did not see that. It was all independent promotions. Independent promotions and television promotions too. And I made a video about that too. You know what I mean? So the territory system would have been dead. It would have been perfect to to kill that shit. I'm sorry, but the territories would have been done. It was an outdated concept in the 90s. Sorry, but the truth is the truth. I'm about to be out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to definitely holler at y'all mañana. You know what I mean? So I'm going to definitely check y'all. Mama Tag might be in the house, so I'm going to definitely check y'all. All right? Peace.